So, hello plant friends! Welcome to episode 8 of my Monstera Deliciosa series. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. I am Meg of Plants ni Meg. I am a plant enthusiast from Pampanga, Philippines. And yeah, I have been doing a series for the past few weeks. So, if Monstera Deliciosa brought you here, I have an entire playlist. You can check it out in the link below. And a bit of a background. I am not an expert. I am a hobbyist, but I have been receiving lots of questions about this particular plant the past few months. So I decided to jump back to YouTube and film a series of videos so I can cover all the questions that are frequently asked. So madali na lang mag-send ng video, di ba? Last week, we talked about propagation, and to celebrate my 1,000 subscriber mark, I had a giveaway. So since pinag-uusapan was propagation, I am giving away Monstera Deliciosa large form propagation. Here. And yan, meron na siyang pa-unfurl na new fenestrated leaf. Ready for mature rose na siya. It's not like we need to announce the winner dahil he won by a landslide. 300 plus likes yung comment niya. So, congratulations to Axel MB for winning this Monstera Deliciosa. Ayun. So, thank you for the 1,000 subscribers and thank you for those who joined. Super natuwa ako, natouch ako sa mga comments nyo, and I know a lot of you weren't even there to win because kita naman natin mahigpit yung labanan. Pero nag-share pa rin kayo ng mga favorite quotes nyo and favorite parts of and favorite videos nyo dun sa comments nun. So, if you missed that, guys, the link is up here. Nakakatuwa yung mga comments. Nag-enjoy talaga ako sa pagbasa. And thank you for encouraging me so I can keep on doing this. Yun. So, Axel, kita tayo soon. We're gonna talk about another topic. And this might be my last topic. I'm not sure if it's the last video because I might do an update regarding the propagations that we did last time. The topic of this video is 2 common Monstera Deliciosa problems and how I deal with it. So, take note, this is how I deal with it. This is not the only solution. I'm just gonna talk about how I deal with it. So, the 2 problems are root rot and rust fungus. Let's start with root rot. Let's get root rot out of the way. Root rot is, I think, one of the, if not the biggest reason why Monstera Deliciosas die. And I know we talked about this on my potting soil video. We discussed how, you know, what type of soil we should use, or soil mix or soilless mix we should use to avoid root rot. And on my watering video, we kind of talked about further how, you know, why monsteras actually rot. Meron na rin po akong mga na-lose na Monstera Deliciosa from root rot. So, my previous videos will show you how to prevent it, but you know, if it's already there, anong gagawin natin? Diba? So, what do you do? What I do to save a Monstera Deliciosa from root rot. Step 1, dispose all your infected medium. So, don't risk recycling it. Don't risk reusing it. Tapon mo na. Just, you know, uproot it and throw away all the medium that you used for that. Kasi, the bacteria causing the rot is already there, or it could be a fungus. it's already infected, in short. So we don't want to use that same medium for another plant, and it might, infect other plants. Step number 2, if possible, this is how I deal with it, okay? Some people would prefer to skip this step, and it's totally up to you. But for me, I prefer to give it a fungicide bath. So, I think this is more common for cacti and succulents. I think it's a process that they normally do when they receive cacti and succulents from the mail. They give it a dethane bath or a fungicide bath. And I like to do that for my aeroids as well. Diba, natanggal mo na yung medium. I'm sorry, I am not demonstrating this. The garden is a bit of a mess because of the typhoon, and also I don't really have any plants to demo. I don't have any issue with my plants at the moment. You have the bare roots and you have the bare plant. If it's small enough to dunk in a fungicide solution, you can do that like in a timba, or you can spray it down. So all parts, leaves, stem, and roots. So before you deal with it in any other way, I like to give it a fungicide bath first and foremost. What fungicide do I use? Personally, I use dethane, not sponsored. I'm gonna put a picture here of the product that I use. So I use dethane. It's pretty straightforward to use. May instructions siya sa label. You just mix a small amount in water, and you can use that for the bath or for the spray. Now, some prefer to use other brands. Some prefer not to use fungicide altogether. Meron ako napanood na YouTuber, si Ken. Merong nagpadala sa kanya na organic fungicide, I think. So I think that's available sa Shopee. I haven't tried it yet, so nasa iyo. You can research on the fungicide you want to use, or if you don't want to use fungicide, you can also try. Na-try ko na rin naman to. I've used it in the past. A solution of warm water with a few drops of neem oil and a couple of drops of dishwashing soap. So soap can, strip away natural oils and stuff of your plant, but it's a surfactant, so it's something that's gonna hold the neem oil so it can stick to your plant. Somehow more natural alternative. Step number 3, cut all infected parts of the plant. So when you see it, you know which parts are rotting because they're soft and mushy and they kind of smell. So you can cut either just a part of the root, kung ano lang yung nag-rot. Minsan, it's the entire root system that you have to cut off. Minsan, hanggang stem aabot na, so you can cut either the roots or all the roots or even the stem. But as long as you have a couple of nodes, if isa na lang yung node na natira, it's a bit of a stretch, but you can still try to save it. Kasi usually yung youngest part yung youngest node, kumbaga, it's not usually viable for propagation, but you can always try. So if you have at least 3 nodes, I think you have very good chances. Number 4, make sure you sanitize all the tools that you use. Sanitize it before you cut, sanitize it after you cut, because we don't want to spread whatever infection that your plant is having. So whether you're dealing with infected plants or not, this is a good practice. I use either isopropyl alcohol or bleach solution. And step number 5, make sure to air dry your plant after cutting before replant it. So I think it's safe to say maybe around 6 to 12 hours in the shade. So wag mo naman siyang ibilan. Parang kinulaw mo na labat. Tip number 6. If it has a lot of good roots, you can just replant it in fresh medium and a clean pot. But if you lost most of the roots, I suggest treating it as a propagation. This would totally depend on your preference. I have done all of these styles that I will mention, and all of them actually work. So nasa iyo naman kung anong preference mo. You can put it in water after, of course, you air dry it. You can root it in sphagnum moss. You can root it in a soilless medium that's chunky, like it has a lot of cocoa cubes and pumice. At this stage, I would not recommend using organic fertilizer, or actually skip fertilizer at this stage, because if you're just rooting the plant, fertilizers can add an extra level of stress to it. So all it actually needs to root is moisture. So saka na natin problemahin yung nutrition niya once tumubo na talaga yung roots niya. And also the organic fertilizer, even the, you know, yung mga ginagawa nating hugas bigas, kape, eggshells, skip it at this point, because this can encourage bacterial growth. And when it's still recovering from rot, we try to stay away from anything that can aggravate the rot. Step number 7, start praying. It's, you know, as with all propagations, there's no 100% surefire way na na masasave natin or ma-root natin yung propagation. So yun, that's for root rot. And ito, hintay ng marami. So hang on tight, ito na hinihintay natin. Rust fungus. I hate this. Rust fungus, na-mention ko siya sa isang video ko, no? When you look at the leaves, wala akong example ngayon. I'll just add some images. Yan. So, minsan, on its early stages, you won't even notice it. The first signs you would see on the front part of the leaf, you would see some yellow spots, and then when you look at the underside and you touch it, there's like some brown powder. And napansin ko, this is very common to Monstera Deliciosa particularly. And in my garden, I don't have this problem, but I only deal with it when I buy one from nurseries and garden centers. And then when I take it home and I inspect it closely, mapansin ko, oh my gosh, oo nga, meron nga siya. So, earlier in my plant journey, I wasn't aware of this, because the first ever Monstera Deliciosa that I bought, it was very clean, it was amazing. I had a chance to visit, I think, may Robel pa nun. Robel na ba yung sarado? Robel ba yung sarado na? I saw a few Monstera Deliciosas. Ang ganda. They're so beautiful. I got a few. Later ko na lang na nakita na parang something. Tapos parang dumadami. Yeah. So that's obviously, diba, we need fungicide to deal with it. But it's very, very annoying to deal with. I'm gonna share with you kung ano yung ginagawa ko, how I deal with it. And this is not the only way, but this is one way, and this is my way. And I'm gonna share it to you. Yeah, so tip number 1, move it away from other plants. So to avoid infection, make sure it's quarantined. You put it in a place na hindi malapit sa other plants, or it's with plants that you really don't care about. Ako lang ba? Yung may favoritism. It spreads through spores. So, if you water it using a hose, or you missed it, or using humidifiers, and then there are plants around it, the spores are gonna be flying around, and it can easily land on other plants, and we don't want that. We don't want that. Tip number 2, just like with rootrot, dispose of the medium. Hindi ko na-elaborate yun. We talked about that. Tip number 3, same with rootrot, you wash it down either with a fungicide, give it a fungicide bath, or fungicide top to bottom spray, or neem oil with a little bit of dish soap. Yun, make sure na covered you wash the undersides as well, because that's where you really see the powder. Tip number 4, repot and use clean, fresh medium and a clean pot. Again, the medium that you used might be infected. It might have spores in the pot. So my problem is, it recurs. So, kahit i-wash ko na siya, i-treat ko na siya, maya-maya meron na naman. So, it's up to you if you want to keep on treating it. I did that. I sprayed with fungicide every week, or twice a week even, or whatever your preferred treatment. Pero like I said, it's annoyingly stubborn, so it can recur. Now, this is what I do. This is what I told some of my friends to do. I cut all the infected leaves. So, kunwari, ito si Monstera Deliciosa. You would notice that the infection would be the worst dun sa older leaves. So, medyo hindi ka naman ganun guilty, kasi kung old and beaten leaves na sila, mas madali silang i-let go. So, kunwari, ito yung old leaf niya, tapos punong-puno na talaga siya. I would cut it. I would even go to the extreme of cutting all the infected leaves, tapos iiwan ko yung youngest leaf. Why? Yung youngest leaf usually siya yung healthiest. So, in a not so severe case, it's usually not infected. So, kung kunwari itong tatlo infected, I will cut all that, and then the youngest leaf, iiwan ko siya. Tapos, hintayin ko na lang siyang gumanda. Also, about the youngest leaf, ito yung tinatawag nating lead leaf. So, if you can see, okay. Focus mo. So, if you can see, meron siya ditong parang nakabukol. So, yung cataphil ng Monstera Deliciosa, laging nandito sa base ng lead leaf. So, dito manggagaling yung yung new leaf mo. So, kunwari, hindi to infected, or konting-konti lang yung infection niya, iiwan ko siya, tatanggalin ko lahat ng may infection. Tapos, dito naman siya tutubo. So, fun fact, what happens kung naputol mo silang lahat? Naasar ako tapos pinagpaputol ko silang lahat. Kapag naputol mo tong lead leaf, lalo na kung medyo hanggang dito sa baba, kung saan lalabas yung bagong leaf, it's going to produce another stem. So, if you notice, if you have a Monstera Deliciosa that's from mid-cutting, you would see na meron siyang isang mature leaf, and then may lalabas na naman na stem Tapos doon lalabas yung little baby leaf. So, that's because mid-cutting siya. So, ako, I always prefer top cutting kasi nandun yung lead leaf. Tas, yung size niya nare-retain most of the time. So, unrelated. So, kung mas matyaga kayo, you can treat it continuously until hopefully mawala na yung infection. But for me, just because I find it annoying that it recurs again and again, I get rid of the old leaves. How to avoid fungal infection sa iyong plants? Firstly, make sure you have good air circulation. So, may nakausap nga ako na seller before, si Ate Mariel, and na-mention niya na tuwing rainy season up to the colder months, madalas merong ganong sakit. I think during that time kasi naghahanap ako ng mga green Monstera Deliciosa. Tapos napag-usapan nga namin na wala. Bakit wala? Kahit saan ka humanap, wala. That was before the pandemic. So, apparently maraming stocks yung tinamaan nung rust fungus during that time. So, it makes sense because kapag moist, diba, pag tag-ulan, obviously it's moist. And also, kapag cooler months, hindi agad na tutuyo. Fungi can grow, tas na-encourage. Magandang siya, tambayan ng mga fungi. Aeroids love humidity, monsteras love humidity. But it's also important na may kaakibat na air circulation. You have to have good air circulation along with your humidity. Because without air circulation, you're gonna be dealing with fungi and bacteria. Another way to do it is huwag masyadong pagsiksikan yung halaman. Pag tag-ulan, yun, bumabagyo, kasi nga, yun, yung air circulation baka hindi enough para i-prevent yung fungal infection. Another tip that I can't really say is for everyone. I have so many plants, and when you have a few manageable pieces, it's easy to do it the natural way. But I have way too many plants, and ever since I tried using fungicide regularly, at least during the wet season, I really saw a difference. Meron din minsan yung like the brown spots na parang they're soft, yung mga ganon, mga leaf blight, mga variegated parts. Hindi lang necessarily rust fungus, so it can happen to any plant. So, yun, ginagawa ko, I make sure I have good air circulation. Good thing, mahangin pa dito sa lugar namin. Minsan too much. And I use fungicide regularly, especially during the rainy season. So, during drier months, minsan, every 1 to 2 months, okay na ako eh. But during the rainy season, I try at least twice a month. Ang recommended, I think, is once a week, but minsan mahirap siya for me. Ang downside lang, if you can, I don't know if kita, ayan o. Ang downside lang, parating merong stains yung leaves mo. So, linis-linis na lang bago mo Instagram kung gusto. Pero for me, that's how I maintain my plants. Yun. Again, disclaimer, this is not the only way, but this is my way. This is how I deal with rootrot, and this is how I deal with rust, fungus, or any fungal infection sa aking plants. Ayun. Next Monstera video natin would be an update of the propagations. But I think I covered everything na parating tinatanong sa akin about this particular plant. If may nakalimutan ako, please comment down below. Meron pa bang topic kayong inaabangan na hindi ko na-cover? If so, comment. Ayun. And if you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you know people who are struggling with rootrot or with fungus, please share this video and it might help them too. So thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye! Yes? Talaga ba, Bullet? Ngayon. What? May kausap ako. Ulit, may kausap ako. May kausap ako eh. Okay, wanna say hi? Sige nga, hanapin mo sino kausap ko. Ikaw eh. Epal ka eh. Oh? No.